This video is sponsored by Milanote. So back in October of 2023, I made my first yandere simulator video, and it was a solid 7 out of 10 in terms of my video quality. I redesigned Osana, Amai, and Megami, and looking back on it, it was just okay, nothing crazy, I guess. But I was doing some thinking recently on why I was so adverse to designing the rest of the rivals, as I stated multiple times throughout the video that none of the other ones interested me, so I wasn't going to do them. And I realized it was because in order to make the character interesting and enjoyable to me, they would have to be completely unrecognizable, which doesn't make for a great thumbnail or video. It's hardly a redesign if I keep like 2 aspects of the original character. And then I was like, this is my channel. I can completely tear apart and Frankenstein a character back together if I want to. So I want to play around with completely rewriting and redoing Yandere Simulator's premise and characters. So not really a redesign, but I'm gonna put it in the thumbnail and the title because I have bills to pay. So what exactly am I doing in this video? What do I mean by a complete overhaul? Well, Yandere Simulator is notoriously, how do I put this? Poop from a butt. The gameplay is terrible, the story is terrible, the characters are terrible. The only reason it ever got popular is because people like yanderes and Markiplier played it, and people only ever still talk about it because of nostalgia, including me. So, first, we're going to break it down to its barest bones. Yandere girl is in love with a boy and is trying to eliminate all other girls interested in him so that they can be together. Easy peasy. So, we have the yandere girl, Ayano, the boy she's in love with, Taro, and the other girls. These 10, but it's really 7 because 2 of them are actual adults and 1 of them is his sister. So let's give some of them a little facelift while I talk about the story adjustments I'm going to be making, but I will warn you, they will not be recognizable. Before we get into the deconstructing of these characters, I want to thank Milanote for sponsoring this video. If you've watched my channel before, you know that I've worked with Milanote in the past, and I can confidently say that Milanote has joined my essentials kit for the things that I use to organize my videos and my art and my ideas. It's an extremely easy to use online digital bulletin board where you can drag and drop images, videos, GIFs, text. It is genuinely the easiest way to brain dump all of the different ideas and concepts you have for a project onto the same page. And after that initial brain dump, Milanote has made it extremely easy to organize all of your thoughts with their custom-made templates. And you don't have to worry about anything getting lost or anything getting too crowded because you can infinitely stack boards so you can make as many subsections as you need to. As my life gets more hectic and I take on more projects and things that I have to do, I have never appreciated Milanote more. From planning out videos to making mood boards for OCs that I'll probably never use, I never find myself wishing for more features in Milanote because genuinely everything that I could need is already in the program. Plus, it's cross-platform and free, so I can access it on all of my devices, no matter if I'm at work, or if I'm editing, or if I'm at school. Collaboration with Milanote is extremely easy as well. All you have to do is make sure the person you're sending it to has a Milanote account, which is free, and they can add pictures to their heart's content. I'm honestly so excited Milanote wanted to work with me again because I really do love Milanote so much and can't recommend it enough. You can go to my link either on screen or in the description to try out Milanote for free, which I highly recommend whether you're an artist, writer, fellow content creator, just some guy with some OCs. Thank you again to Milanote for sponsoring this video, and now please fasten your seatbelts. First is Senpai, possibly the most nothing character from anything ever. I literally cannot name a single thing about him other than the fact that he reads books and has a sister. So he gets the biggest overhaul and nothing about him will stay the same other than the fact that all the characters call him Senpai. Normally I would talk about Taro's original character, but there is nothing to talk about. Literally nothing. So I might as well be making an OC from scratch. So, Inkio's Taro. What's his deal? So Taro Yamada is a 3rd year at this school that doesn't have a name because Academy High is dumb, and he is the president of the student council. He's popular and friendly and funny and is a very stereotypical positive and outgoing boy that any girl at the school with the most basic of taste would fall for. The closest comparison I can make is Adrian from Miraculous, seemingly perfect with a tragic backstory that makes him sympathetic. He's a straight-A student, president of the student council, captain of the swim team. He's kind and respectful and everyone loves him. So now, hopefully, it makes a little more sense that so many different people would all fall in love with him. I mean, I would never fall for the popular boy. I would just ignore him and put in my earbuds and blast My Chemical Romance. He'd think, wow, that guy is so different. I wonder why they're so mysterious. Like I said, Taro is captain of the swim team now, so now he looks oddly similar to, I forgot the rival's name, but he's the male rival who does swimming, and I think he also does track. I think he does all of the sports. He's the sport one. He likes sports. And when I said that he would be unrecognizable, I 100% meant it. I just really could not stand Senpai's original design. Oh my gosh, it's so nothing. And I know that both him and Ayano are supposed to be kind of blank slates for the player to project themselves onto. I believe you can also customize the way that Senpai looks in the game. I don't know if that made it into the final game, but I do remember it being in like a beta version. And that's all well and good for an unserious game that's not supposed to have like a compelling story. But ideally you do want people to care about your characters, because if they care about the characters, then they'll care about the game. So I've made the executive decision to give Senpai a personality. Oh my god. He has interests and hobbies and friends, and he's actually likable and charismatic. Oh my god, the horror! In the original game, it didn't make sense to a lot of people why so many different girls would be interested in Taro. You could maybe see it with Osana. They've known each other for a long time. She probably knows more about him than any of the other girls do. It's very common for people to develop feelings for friends that they're close to. But for every other rival, no sense. It makes no sense. And not to beat a dead horse, because you've probably heard this over and over again, but there is no universe in which a guy that is this nothing burger would have 10 different girls pining after him. Sorry, 7 girls, 2 adult women, and his sister. So, legitimately, the only thing I kept about him was that his name is Taro Yamada, and he likes to read books, I guess. His color scheme, his outfit, his personality, all of it is just completely different. This is just a different guy. This is just a completely different guy. And there are tons of redesigns out there on YouTube that keep Taro very similar to how he is in the game, just for the sake of recognizability, or to keep his blank slate design that people can project their crushes onto. But Ayano's affection for Taro is literally the baseline of the story and the catalyst for every single thing that happens. And when you have such a nothing burger character as the foundation for your story, nobody's going to get invested in it seriously. Like, yes, there were people who liked Yandere Simulator's story, but do any of them like Taro, or do they like Ayano and the rivals? I think you know the answer to that. So I don't suspect huge amounts of pushback on me completely overhauling Taro's design, unless you were just absolutely appalled by the fact that I'm giving him personality and a different appearance. If you're really mad, make sure to leave an extremely long comment so I can screenshot it and send it to my friends so we can laugh at it. As you can probably tell, I pretty much took the entire color scheme and, I don't know, personality from the swimmer guy. I don't know all the rivals' names, okay? Wait, okay, his name is Aso Rito. Is it because it's like athlete? Because the original, her name is Asu Rito. Oh my god, that's so stupid. I definitely do understand if you don't like how much I changed his look. It's not even the same character. And if you've watched my channel before, you know I don't normally do redesigns this drastic. I don't even know if I would consider this a redesign. Honestly, I just took the role that Taro is supposed to fill in the story as a likable love interest who has a bunch of different girls pining after him, and just designed a new character to fit into that same role, and then gave him the same name. Do you look at him and think Senpai from Yandere Simulator? Not in the slightest. But that's the great thing about having free will. I can do whatever I want, and I didn't like Taro originally, so this is my Taro. He remembers the name of everybody that he meets, and he once saved a puppy from the side of the road. He's the most perfect boy in school until he isn't. Anyways, moving on. So, of course, we have to do the girl of the hour, the yandere simulator herself, Ayano Aishi. I don't really have anything planned out for the rest of the rivals except for one that I may mention later. So, Ayano is probably going to change the least, at least in terms of visual design and personality. One thing I did decide to change though was her backstory, her background. Originally in the game, she just came from like a middle-class family. I think she's an only child. Her mom was also a yandere, which, oh my gosh, we don't even have time to get into all of that. But nothing else in her home life was of note, so I decided to change that a little bit. I vividly remember watching a yandere dev video when I still watched those of a potential gameplay concept where Ayano could like ask favors of the Japanese Yakuza, which is like Japan's version of the mafia, from my understanding. And I thought it was so random at the time because can you just call up the Yakuza, like find their phone number in the phone book and be like, hey, I need you to kill this guy for me? And I'm sure he explained her connection to the Yakuza in the video. It's just been a while since I've watched it and I'm not gonna go look for it. So that had me thinking, let's just cut out the middleman and make Ayano part of the Yakuza. Specifically, her father is probably a very high-ranking member, and so she was just born into it. That also gives her actions a little bit more stakes, not that murder is like a low stakes thing originally when it's not part of organized crime, but if she gets caught doing anything suspicious or God forbid killing somebody, then not only does it reflect on her, but also her family could be found out. And so since we are meant to play as Ayano, obviously we don't want that. But this would also explain why Ayano has access to the Yakuza's resources, so weapons, information on different people, etc. I imagine that this story's version of InfoChan is also part of the same family, so like Ayano's cousin or something, but I haven't thought that far ahead yet. Like Senpai, Ayano has the most bare bones, basic design that I think I've ever seen from anything ever, which is saying a lot because this is an anime game and anime characters tend to be pretty homogenous, especially girls. But she is known for her dark hair, dark eyes, overall apathetic demeanor. And so I know this is kind of a double standard because I decided to completely overhaul Taro. But other than some cosmetic changes and a different uniform, Ayano is staying pretty much the same. I decided to give her a hime cut, so blunt cut bangs with the little side pieces and then the long front side pieces, but it's still up in a ponytail. I believe Megami actually has this haircut in the original game. Okay, no, she doesn't. She doesn't have the little side pieces. It's just a normal haircut with blunt bangs. Oh god, I was thinking of the girl from My Hero Academia. They look really similar and she does have a hime cut. It translates literally to princess cut, and I imagine that Ayano is probably an only child, so she would in some sort of way be the Yakuza's princess, I suppose. I don't know how organized crime works, if it's like one family controlling everything or if it's like multiple different families. Clearly I'm not part of any sort of mafia, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. And as you can probably tell, I changed their uniform a whole lot. I actually really like the uniform that the student council is wearing in the original game, so I tweaked it a little bit and just made it the regular uniform that everybody wears now. Looking at her now, Ayano is kind of giving like a recolor of Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club. Though I suppose if you think about it, they are pretty similar. So I don't remember Ayano having any significant personality traits in the original either. So now I imagine she's a good student, but not particularly popular. People don't know her name. She gets straight A's, but then just goes straight home after school, doesn't do any extracurriculars because those are for nerds. She just kind of does what she needs to at school and then goes straight home. Which, yeah, girl, me too. Until one day she runs into Taro, the extremely popular president of the student council who she's only ever heard about in passing. But as soon as she meets him, she is instantly obsessed. Has to have him through whatever means necessary. Something I forgot to mention earlier, but I guess I'll put in here, is that these redesigns aren't in the same universe as my previous Yandere Simulator redesigns, as shown by the different uniforms. I think if I did continue with any sort of rewrite, there would be a lot of rivals who will not make it to the other side because in my opinion, 10 is excessive. I think 4 or 5 really well-written, interesting rivals will be better than 10 blank slate boring rivals. And originally one of these rivals was going to be in this video, but I ran out of time. So you just get Ayano and Taro. Anyways, I hope this makes Ayano a little less nothing while still keeping her emotionless, apathetic facade that's so important to her character. Does she still have that weird curse where she can't feel any emotions unless she's around Taro? No, because that's dumb. I'll figure something out. So, this officially marks the second time that I have said I will not make another yandere simulator video and then proceed to make another yandere simulator video. In my defense, technically both of these videos have been standalone videos and not continuations of the original. Like with most of my videos, I don't know if I'll make a part 2. I am just following where the creative wind takes me this year. I have a whole bunch of ideas for videos I'd like to make if I can sit down and focus on them for longer than 30 minutes, as well as some ideas for hopefully new things I can put into my shop. I just have stickers for now, but I'm hoping to expand into prints, keychains, things like that. So if you'd like to support me, you can check out my shop or you can check out my Patreon. Thank you as always to the people who pay for my groceries, my $10 patrons, Puntastic Artist, Little Wolfine, Viyun, Gar, Zigo Buzz, Speckadoodle, Billy Lover, Neko Jack, and Tyree West. As well as all of my other patrons, all of my subscribers, everybody who watches my videos, everybody who comments, likes, etc, etc. If you're new, make sure to subscribe, and if you're not new, make a new account and subscribe again. Thank you to Milanote for sponsoring this video. If you're watching this video when it comes out, it should be Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day. My birthday was last week, so comment happy birthday or you'll have 10 trillion years of bad luck. I have been Lucky Inkiio, and I will see you very soon.